Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about the M1 helmets. Both of mine in the collection. I'm not going to do what the Instagram poll wanted me to do and do an individual video on both of them. I just don't see a reason behind it. I'm sure you guys will understand because both of these helmets are essentially the same. There's only a few minor differences, or really major differences between the two as well. To start off, obviously, we're going to go in chronological order. We're going to talk about the World War II M1 helmet. I have a pretty good example, I think. I actually refurbished this example myself. Right now, as you will see, it's in its Marine Corps cover, but we will get into those details here in just a second. So here is my World War II M1 in its Marine Corps cover. This is a weathered cover, kind of like, you know, I gave it what I like to call the Okinawa look. Actually in the Pacific, for some reason, they wear the tan side out the entire time you see anybody wearing a helmet cover. I only see the tan side out, which I think is a little off. Normally when I see colorized pictures, they're green side out, but the tan side actually on this one looks pretty clean. I don't use it, so that's probably the reason behind it. So this is the tan side of this helmet. This is what the Pacific movie. Please excuse my my small stroke. The Pacific miniseries, anytime somebody's wearing a helmet cover, this is the side that they're using. And they also have, like, well, you'll see in the Vietnam cover, they have little slits. This cover does not have those slits, but the ones in the Pacific do. So I think I've seen a couple of pictures of that. They might have just been pictures from the miniseries done in black and white and all that nonsense, and I just didn't realize that it was. But like I said, I've seen a couple of pictures. When most people think of the M1, they don't really think of it in this World War II cover. They either think of it with no cover or the Vietnam cover, and the no cover is what you're about to see now. So here's the World War II helmet. Like I said, I refurbished it myself. I textured it and all that nonsense. Spray painted it. This is just without the cover. This is what most people think. The Army wore their helmets like this in World War II and in Korea. The ARVN would sometimes wear their helmets like this, without the chin strap and with the updated liner. And this helmet actually is pretty interesting. It's a two-piece helmet system. When I say two-piece, there's a helmet and a liner. And some people are like, oh, it's a three-piece if you count the cover. Most people don't count the cover. It's an individual piece. This is a post-World War II helmet that I turned into a World War II helmet. You can tell because post-World War II helmets will have a seam in the rear. Don't know if you can see that, but there's a seam right there. But yeah, this is my World War II helmet. So the liner is interesting. So I have my helmet, my sweatband. Technically, this part, the sweatband, technically it's wrong. It's not supposed to be attached to the back strap back here, but I have it that way because it's comfortable that way. It fits on my head better. But so this part is flat, but the main head webbing part is not, and it goes at an angle down instead of straight and flat, like you'll see in later variants. This is just a standard M1 helmet. I wish I had an M1C helmet to show, but at the time of recording, I don't have one. That will probably end up getting its own video whenever that goes up. So now, some of the uses that this helmet gets. First, let me just take it apart. So here you have the two helmet parts. You have a liner and a helmet. So, taking that liner out of it, some of the uses that you could do is you can turn it this way, and look, you've now got a wash basin. If you've ever watched MASH, you can see this actually done quite a bit. You'll have the helmet straps. They will be fastened. Best I can do this with one hand. Have it fastened and up to a pole with a mirror above it and water in there. It's pretty smart. Or if you need to, don't recommend it, but you can use it as like a latrine or something. Like I said, don't recommend it because you gotta wear that thing on your head. And if you need something to drive in tent stakes, you can do that. Or if worse comes to worse, someone's attacking your position, like if you're in an entrenched position or entrenched into a building, and the enemy get right up in your face, you can use it as a bludgeoning weapon. Not And you can use it as a pot. I don't recommend it because it'll mess with the tempering of the helmet, but hence the name steel pot. Now let's jump forward in time a tad. Cue the war crimes and the mamas and the papas music. This is the Vietnam helmet. I have green side out. I got my name on the helmet band. This is how you normally see this done by the Army. There's actually two sides to this helmet, just like the last helmet liner. There's, not helmet liner, sorry, helmet cover. There's the green side dominant, and then there is a brown side. I believe the green side is known as a Mitchell pattern, and the brown side is known as a cloud pattern, and you'll see why here in a second. But some major things that are done differently. The chin strap, I don't know if I talked about the chin strap. I'll talk about the chin straps for the other one soon. This, I think, is a Korean War, because in Vietnam they had a little ball and everything. But this is my chin strap for this. It's pretty simple. The Marines didn't use a helmet band like that was issued to them. They would normally use some like tubing of some kind, so rubber elastic tubing, and then they would stretch it over the helmet and do it that way. And that's just what they would have done. Mine obviously has my name on it, and I plan on getting some M16 lubricant and sticking it on this side, and maybe, I don't know, like a pack of, like a little thing of juicy fruit gum or something on the other side. Now the tan side looks a bit like this. Here is the tan side of this helmet. As you can see, it kind of looks like brown clouds. You're probably wondering, where in Vietnam would this be useful? Well, if you're in a mortar pit where they're clay, again, I apologize. Their dirt is kind of really dark brown. If you live in Kentucky, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a clay, and this actually blends in pretty well. However, there are some units to see, I think it's one of the cavalry units, that actually they would wear this in, they wear this side in the jungle, which to me doesn't make any sense, but there's a couple of pictures. There's actually a video done on it. It's an airsoft kit. It's an M79 gunner. I can't remember who did it, but it's a pretty interesting video. And the biggest thing that I have to say about this side is that, well, it's brown clouds. That's why it's called the cloud side. And it's actually not that bad of a camouflage. It was done, this side was done mostly for deserts and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna flip it back to the green side, because that's the side I tend to wear because I do army kits. Let's back to the green side. Let's talk a little bit about the liner. So the liner is, as you can see, it's flat. This, to me, is better. The helmet fits a little better. This is also, by the way, this helmet is purely original except for the helmet cover, because I do have a tendency to doodle on them. I don't want to doodle on an original helmet cover, because that would be a travesty. So this is all original, well used, both by me and whoever else wore it. I think it's a good system when it's flat. One of the more comfortable helmet systems I've ever used. Pasget's not the greatest, but it's not horrible. And that's my take on that kind of helmet system. This is a fiberglass liner. I have an original World War II liner, but that is not in the best condition. It's actually more of just a fiberglass bowl, because none of the important bits are actually there. This helmet would also, like, it's come apart. This is your liner. It's an OD green. Parades and stuff, that's what you'd see. Or you'd see later, they just take the steel piece and chrome it. I don't have an example of that. I actually don't even have an example past the 60s, which is this one. So this has been my video on the M1 helmets. I'm planning on doing another video about M1 helmets. I'm going to do one about an airborne helmet, or it'll probably be with an 80s helmet. And I'm also going to do a video on all the different uses you can use for this helmet, aside from the obvious, you know, protection from shrapnel and low velocity things coming at your dome. So yeah, this has been our video, and I will see you guys next time in the next video. This is Alan of Alan's Arsenal, signing out.